Welcome back, EFD squad. Today we're looking at the moments footballers took a break from being dicks and decided to do the right thing. 10. Robbie Fowler's honesty. At number 10, we have one of the most likeable men in football. In his illustrious career playing at Liverpool, Leeds, Man City and Blackburn Rovers, Robbie Fowler scored 163 Premier League goals. Most known for his time with the Reds, Fowler headed their potent attack during the 90s, famed for his natural composure in front of the net and his ability to score all types of goals. But Fowler's good decision-making wasn't limited to goal situations. We're going back to 1997 and a huge game between second-place Liverpool and third-place Arsenal. The men from Merseyside were leading 1-0 when Fowler fell in the box after a one-on-one against David Seaman. On review, it was obvious that the stopper didn't make contact with Fowler, but the ref blew for a penalty. Knowing he'd simply fallen over, Fowler protested the decision and unsuccessfully pleaded with the referee not to give him the spot kick. The number 9 actually missed the pen, but McAtee slotted in the rebound, giving Liverpool a 2-0 cushion. The game ended 2-1, and Fowler was awarded a UEFA Fair Play Award for his honesty. 9. Vittorio Esposito's penalty. In the world of football, we're used to big names and big controversies. You can probably compose a list of unsportsmanlike situations featuring high-profile players off the top of your head. Beckham's kick at Simeone, Zidane's headbutt, or what about Rooney's stamp and Ronaldo's wink? However, it might be hard to believe, but the beautiful game can occasionally be peppered with acts of goodwill, and at number 9 we have one you probably haven't heard of. Vittorio Esposito was playing as a forward for US Termoli in the Coppa Italia Dilettante, an Italian amateur cup, when he turned from footballer to vigilante. During the game between Termoli and Torres, the club famous for launching Gianfranco Zola's career, Esposito was awarded a penalty after tripping over in the box. However, the Italian knew it wasn't a fair decision, and as the ref had ignored his admission, he took justice into his own hands, missing the penalty on purpose and blazing it over the bar. Very commendable behaviour, but we aren't so sure whether he'd be doing that if he'd been playing in the Champions League. 8. Ajax vs Cambuur. We now know Jan Vertonghen as Tottenham's very own reliable and stable centre-back. In 2006, when the Belgian international was only 19 years old, he scored what has remained the best goal of his career, but also his unluckiest. During an Eredivisie game between Ajax and SC Cambuur, Vertonghen scored a 60-yard screamer, striking the ball straight into the top corner. Unfortunately for the Ajax teenager, it was a total accident. The defender had been meaning to sportingly pass the ball back to the Cambuur keeper after a player had gone down injured. The Yellow Blues were not impressed with the mistake, so in order to even the score up, the apologetic defender forced his Ajax teammates to stand aside and let Cambuur get an equaliser. Lovely behaviour, but we're not sure we'd see this happen in the North London derby. 7. Brann's wonder goal. We're dipping our toes into the Norwegian top flight with this edition, casting our minds back to 2011. SK Brann midfielder Erik Mjelde became a victim of poor fate, much like Vertonghen, when he scored a freak goal against league rivals Lillestrøm. Following usual football etiquette, Mjelde had tried to pass the ball back to the opposition after they kicked it out of play following an injury. From his own half, he kicked the ball to Lillestrøm's keeper, but it bounced in front of the stopper and into the net, accidentally winning goal of the season. Brann, now with an unfair 2-0 lead, agreed as a team to concede a goal on purpose to make the accidental one redundant. Well, everyone except the Brann keeper, who obviously didn't get the fair play memo and actually tried to save it. 6. Canio's catch. Over to Merseyside for our next entry for a game between West Ham and Everton in 1998. Paolo Di Canio was playing under Harry Redknapp at West Ham when his moral compass was tested. The Toffees keeper had run out of his box to sweep up, but went down with an injury, leaving Trevor Sinclair to sling across into the Italian, who was all alone in the box. Instead of smacking it into the goal and taking the lead, Di Canio heroically caught the ball. But that didn't best please his manager on the touchline. The Hammers were all slightly confused, probably not used to seeing such morally correct behaviour on the field. But confusion and frustration turned to admiration for Di Canio, who later received a FIFA commendation for his fair play in a sport more often notable for diving and cheating. 5. Puyol's good behaviour. Check out FD's 10 reasons to hate Barcelona if you want some nastier news, but I'm focusing on the Catalans' nice side for once. The messy-haired heavy metal defender known as the Wall is a real-life reminder never to judge a book by its cover. Puyol is one of Barcelona's most decorated players, having 6 La Liga triumphs and 3 Champions League winners' medals to his name. But over his 15 seasons at the Camp Nou, he's proved himself a true footballing gentleman. We're taking just one of Puyol's chivalrous moments in a 2005 game between Barcelona and Mallorca. Unsurprisingly, Barca had taken an easy lead and were 2-0 up when Sergio Ballesteros was sent off for a harsh challenge on Van Bommel. Puyol attempted to calm the Mallorca player down, but the riled-up Ballesteros slapped him across the face. Puyol actually earned a great deal of respect over the incident as he didn't retaliate, and he even held back teammate Ronaldinho from administering his own version of justice against Ballesteros. 4. Klose's handball. The World Cup winner and all-time leading goalscorer for Germany is a nice guy as well as a lethal goal machine. Miroslav Klose might have won his first piece of club silverware for Bayern Munich, but it was during his time at Lazio that he earned a medal for being the biggest gentleman in Serie A. In 2012, Lazio travelled to the Stadio San Paolo to face Napoli in the league. At 0-0, following a corner kick, the German striker scored with his hand. But after celebrating the goal for a few seconds, he decided to ditch the anyhow anyway mentality and admitted to the ref that he'd given the ball a helping hand into the net. The Napoli players thanked the striker for his sportsmanship, and Maradona's old team won the game 3-0, proving that no good deed goes unpunished. 3. Arsene Wenger's rematch. These days we're more used to seeing the Arsenal coach shoving fourth officials and arguing with a certain Portuguese opponent. But back in 1999, the Frenchman was a little more relaxed on the touchline, and during an FA Cup clash with Championship team Sheffield Wednesday, Wenger displayed his sympathetic side. Canio was making his debut for the Gunners, and the young Nigerian hadn't yet become accustomed to the P's and Q's of English football. At 80 minutes, the knockout game was finally poised at 1-1, and Sheffield United had put the ball out of play following an injury to one of their players. Unaware of the unwritten rule to give the ball back to the Blades, Canio latched onto Ray Parlour's throw, which was intended for Sheffield United's keeper. He assisted Overmars to put Arsenal ahead and send the Gunners into the next round. Wenger acknowledged this lack of fair play and offered Sheffield a replay. With the FA's consent, the original game became void and Highbury hosted a rematch. Goals from Overmars and Bergkamp put Arsenal in charge, and they won the game 2-1 again, but this time fairly. 2. CR7's apology. Cristiano Ronaldo is wildly competitive. He'd do pretty much anything to beat Messi's goal tally and one up his rival in Catalonia. But he grabs a spot on this list due to his actions in the Real vs Getafe match in 2011, in which he scored a hat-trick. During the game, he made a clearance and freakishly the ball hit a fan in the crowd, breaking his nose. The spectator was assisted by the stadium medics, but after the game, he received a visit from Ronaldo himself. He gave the fan his shirt as an apology for the incident. When you think about this and the thousands he gives to charity and the terminally ill children he helps out, it becomes easier to look past his perfectly crisp hair and white sparkling teeth and realise he's actually a decent bloke. 1. Oliver Kahn's Cuddle. The legendary German stopper had a reputation for being aggressive and extremely commanding. However, he showed a softer side to his personality during the 2001 Champions League final. In an extremely tense match between Bayern Munich and Valencia played at the San Siro, the two teams nervously faced a penalty shootout after the 90 minutes ended in a 1-1 stalemate. After a miss from Pellegrino, Bayern Munich claimed the Champions League trophy, winning 5-4 on penalties. Naturally, the Bayern team all began celebrating their win, all except Oliver Kahn, that is. The German keeper immediately went over to Valencia's distraught Santiago Cañizares to console him. Hugging him on the pitch, the sympathetic side of tough guy Kahn was displayed on the biggest of stages, giving us hope that not all footballers are total t***s. So those were our top 10 moments of fair play in football, but what do we miss out? What would you have included? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, stay right here on Euro Football Daily and check out Stat Wars The Champions, Chris Hamill, Adam McCullough, a fight to the death. Football quiz, actually. And as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe.